Welcome to this month's newsletter. Today is March 28th. Nasty month so far in the markets. If you are a bull, if you're a bear, you're happy. Again, I'm not sure if that's the right statement to say given why the market's falling. So um, hopefully this all passes pretty fast. Again, looking at the markets, Nifty big dive from 12,000 area to the 7,400 area. Obviously, all the charts are now bearish. We did have a doji and confirmation up. Did rally quite a bit, but keep in mind that at this point, if we zoom in a little bit, your Chicago is back here. In another few days, your Kijun is going to keep falling down. So it's not that the Kijun is going to be up here providing a magnet for the prices to come up. The Kijun is going to keep falling down at this price starting in the next couple of days. So your resistance is going to keep coming down. Looking at the longer term to see where the support is actually, this chart next is only goes back 3 years. So just looking at eye charts here, the Nifty does have longer term support back at the 7,000 area from 2016. So I would think that they would at least try to test that area before forming a substantial bottom. So we didn't reach that point yet, and there might be a chance for a further move down, especially if they close back below the Tenkan here. I would not hesitate to put in some short positions if they do close below the Tenkan. At least first target would be your lows here, and the next target down to 7,000 area. Let's look at a few stocks. Here's Tata Motors. Again, this is a weekly chart, bearish on the weekly, and obviously bearish on the daily. Really nice breakout from the Kumo here. Was a nice shot. If you look at the weekly chart, it was already below the Kumo, so you could have taken bearish trades even back here when it broke. Chicago broke back below the candles. Nice area to short back there. Well, I short now. It's a doji now. If they open lower and start going below this low, that would indicate some prices falling back down. But keep in mind, in this case, your Kijun is going to go flat because this is your high, and unless you keep making lower lows, your Kijun is going to keep flattening out, which is going to attract prices back to itself. So it is quite stretched out. If you have short positions, if they take it above the high of this week, of last week, then I would start taking my profits. Bail, also the same scenario, nothing there. You're short, you continue to be short. I would not want to buy it, especially since it hasn't even tried to come up over the Tenkan yet. Again, if you're going to play this market on the long side, it's going to be against the trend, so you got to be very nimble with your and keep your stop losses very short. If you want to play this one, definitely the only time I would even think about it is if it closes above the daily Tenkan. No resistance here on the Chicago on the weekly. Long distance to the resistance here on the weekly to the Tenkan. So if you want to play this one long, I would definitely want to see a close above the Tenkan to play it up to the Kijun. But again, you are playing counter trend, so keep that in mind. Infosys did rally strongly up, hit the Kijun, and looks like it failed. If you were long here, you should have taken profits, or that would have been an obvious target. At this point, I would expect them at least to come back and test the Tenkan here. Definitely don't want to be long at this point. Somebody asked about Cipla on the daily. Obviously bearish. You are approaching the Tenkan, the weekly Kijun here. Chicago is going to go into this resistance area. If you somehow manage to buy down here and you're thinking of you're in a bull position, I would definitely take some profits off the table. I would not be afraid to short it below the lows. ICICI Bank, same scenario here. If you notice, the Chicago is up to this point. In the next couple of days, the Kijun is going to start dropping and your resistance is going to come close to the price. I would have liked to see a flatter Kijun here so the prices could go up, just like in Infosys case, but in this case the Kijun is going to keep dropping now. So this one I would not hesitate to short below the lows. I would not want to buy it as yet. LNT, same scenario. All the big stocks are obviously doing the same thing. If you look at the weekly charts, notice the weekly had a nice breakdown. Chicago breakout to the downside somewhere into the last week of February. So keep in mind, long is not the only way to play the markets. You got to play it both ways. And you would have got an amazing profit shorting it, even if you had shorted it at around 1100, 1200 range. That would have been a tremendous amount of profit because the long term and the short term were both saying the same thing. Dabur, somebody asked about this one. Again, nothing there. Just a junky trading scenario. Looking at the weekly, it is holding the weekly Kumo. Notice the Chicago is into a congestion area. I would not want to short this one yet. Only if it closes below the lows in this case. That would take the Chicago. The Chicago would confirm the breakdown. In that case, I would be willing to short it below the 385 area, but not without that. And one more, Adani Power, nothing there yet. Looks like it's ready to start its next leg down. Would not be afraid to short below the lows, but not until then. And finally, Bank of Baroda. Looking at the weekly chart here, also the same scenario. You have the Chicago breakout below these levels. Could have shorted. In fact, this one was a good short. Even in the week of the 10th of February, this one could have been shorted or put spot on this one for a nice move down. This one is trying to do a double bottom, but if you are short, I would definitely be taking some position off. The Kijun is keeping a strong lid on this guy, so that would be my ultimate stop anyway. So again, there is really no need to. In fact, let's look at the Bank Nifty. Probably the same scenario. Same scenario as the Nifty. Nothing there to. Let's look at the longer term chart here. Bank Nifty. Looks like Bank Nifty does have support around the 20,000 area where it topped out before, had a small top here before a cup and handle break, and then it did bounce off. So this is a strong support area for the Bank Nifty. If they break that, then the next support area around 14,000. So I would be careful buying stocks at this point. I would want to see some confirmation before going in. Really no need to hurry into this market on the long side yet. Too much uncertainty out there, and the technicals, remember, will always play second fiddle to the fundamentals. This is a fundamental driven market, news coming out every day, so best to avoid the market at this point if you can. If you are short, again, both sides need to be nimble because of the daily huge volatile movements of the market. So be careful out there, and pray that this whole thing passes out fast, and be safe. That'll be it.